Welcome back again, this is Fox, the next instalment in our Anno 1800 playthrough. Let's play. So today we're going to be talking about all things ethanol. Firstly I'm going to show you how much ethanol I need for this project. And it is roughly, well, 883 a minute, so let's say 900 tonnes of ethanol a minute. There are lots of different ways you can make this with byproducts. We're going to get to that in a minute. I'm just going to say that making this the traditional way, 885 tonnes a minute of ethanol, the traditional way, in the New World, was just not going to be an option. I mean, if we look at the production chain for ethanol. So it uses wood and corn. Nice and easy, you think. These ethanol factories use 125 obreros in a factory. I did set an island up making ethanol earlier. It was on a medium island and it only made about 115 tonnes a minute. 115 to 120 tonnes a minute on a medium island. It was one about this size. So yeah, as you can see, the whole of the bloody New World will be covered in ethanol factories to make that 900 tonnes a minute that we need. Plus the amount of corn needed was ridiculous. It's something stupid like 900 tonnes a minute. It's a ton of corn to every ton of ethanol that you make. So it would have been, well, it's just slightly under. So it would have been 900 tonnes a minute of corn. Granted, you can trade this, and also you can trade the wood. But still, the amount of space and the amount of workforce needed to produce the ethanol in the old world, in the New World, was just going to take up way too much space. It would leave me not enough space to create the other stuff that we need to make in the New World, like, well, we need camphor wax as well to start with to make the celluloid. We need an awful lot of that. You can see I need 380 tonnes of camphor wax. That's a lot of orchards. I need 621 tonnes of citrus. This is all New World. It's got to be made in the New World. This stuff. Citrus you can get as byproducts, but the setup that I've been using to get the most out of your orchards in the old world, you need the 3 that give you the forest density boost. So having the citrus produced as a byproduct just really dampens down the production on things that you're really going to need a lot of, again, like rosewood, the cherry wood, sorry. I need 500 tonnes of cherry wood. For me to sacrifice one of the forest density items and put in the one that produces citrus as a byproduct, again, was just going to take up way too much space. This is a big pain for me, the cherry wood in the old world. This is the only, the resin as well, it's the same. Another 500 tonnes of resin a minute. So these are going to take up a lot of space in the old world. So yeah, making the space even more by not making the citrus in the New World is just counterproductive. So yeah, we've got that out of the way. We're not going to be making the ethanol in the New World. There is many other ways that you can make ethanol. Luckily, there's this cunning item. The Get Rich Volume 4, The Wasteland. Affects chemical plants, lemonade chemical plant, chewing gum, artisan's workshop, cognac and all drinks production. Produces ethanol at a rate of 1/4. Now, again, for me to put this, well, let's go over to the Cape. These are the items that I'm using in the Cape for my artisan workshops. The chemical plants making the lacquer are all clipped using this double redundancy thing. So you can see they're at 420%. So these are clipped by the trade unions. You can see every trade union, every chemical plant is being clipped by these. Without doing this, I would not have enough space on the Cape to make all of the lacquer that we need. So part 1, I had to clip the chemical factories making the lacquer. That means it left me with 2 trade union slots to fit in the artisan workshops around and the assembly lines making typewriters, cognac, and toys, wherever the toys are. They're in here somewhere. They're buried away. Toy factories are here. So yeah, that left me 2 trade union items to fit in with the one that the chemical plants are using for the artisan workshops. And the 2 best ones for that were these 2. This one affects all assembly lines. It's plus 55% productivity. This one plus 75% productivity. So for me to swap one of those out and then use the one that makes ethanol, which only gives a 20% boost, was going to drastically increase, again, the amount of space and the amount of these factories that we need. These are really, really hungry on workforce. They use 315 artisans a pop. These ones are 315 artisans. These are workers, luckily. But yeah, it was just not an option, again, for me to put them in the trade unions and make it from these. So that left the other options when using this item, which is all drinks production. So it says affects chemical plants, lemonade chemical plant, chewing gum, artisan workshops, cognac, and all drinks production. Actually, I think it only affects the lemonade one. I don't think that even affects these chemical plants. Let's just try it. Let's swap that out. Have I got one here? I haven't even got one here, so we can't test it. That's a shame. Let's make one quickly in the Institute, and then we'll come back to it while I talk through the rest of the stuff that's going on. So yeah, that left us the drinks production. So all drinks production. So it even affects malt houses. These are malt houses. These are beers. These are schnapps distillery. We're going to turn these on one by one, and we're going to jot the figures down so I can tell you which one I chose. The schnapps one is really good, by the way. But this is malt houses. So that's one full trade union cluster of malt houses. They can make us 57 tonnes a minute. So not bad. But bear in mind, these need the malt and then they need the grain, which you've either got to trade for or grow somewhere. These are just breweries. This was the worst out of the lot. But if you work in tandem with a malt production, then it's probably not going to be too bad. This was 29 tonnes a minute. So that works out 86 tonnes a minute for the beer. But that takes up 2 trade union clusters. If you add the malt and the beer together, it makes 86 tonnes a minute. Now, schnapps. These are boosted with the best items that you can get, along with the one that we need to give us the ethanol. So one schnapps cluster makes 114 tonnes a minute. I'm not even going to go into champagne because the grapes you can't trade, you have to make them and they're just way too slow. So yeah, ethanol. 115 tonnes a minute from one trade union cluster of schnapps distilleries is pretty good. I would only need 8 of these clusters. I could dot them on little islands around in the Cape. I may do this for the ethanol that I need specifically for the chemical plants making the lacquer. This is a very, very viable option. The only thing that holds this back is the amount of potatoes needed. You can see 456 tonnes of potatoes needed a minute for this cluster. Now, if we say, on average, my trade routes are taking 28 minutes. So let's say 455 times 28. That's 12,740 tonnes a minute. Now, on one of these little islands, the maximum storage I think I've managed to get is about 3,000. Yeah, they're all 2,500-ish tonnes a minute. So you would have to spread the trading of the potatoes around about 5 islands. It's doable. If I've got a export-import slot left on all of my investor islands, there's going to be 20 or so of them. I could probably set up 5 trade union clusters on little ones and have the potatoes being traded and feeded them. But still, it was going to be a massive pain, a massive logistical nightmare to make it that many potatoes. Obviously, I don't want to grow them because it just takes up old world space. So for me to trade that many potatoes and ship them around all over the shop, just for the sake of making schnapps to make the ethanol as a byproduct, again, wasn't the best option for me. Now, there are other options. Obviously, drinks productions in Mbessa. Not this island. Not this one. This one. So I've got some little clusters set up here. This one isn't perfect. I could have fitted a couple more in here, but I just managed to squeeze it in there. This is goat's milk. This is tea. This is a full trade union cluster of tea. So let's fire this one up. Got to take the item out of there. Plop it in there. So only 20 tons a minute from that massive trade union cluster of tea spices, and they need 80 tons of tea petals a minute to feed this. So the amount of tea petals that takes up would probably be this whole section here, just to make 80 tons a minute. I mean, it's not bad, but it's going to take up a lot of space. I mean, 20 tons a minute, and it's, sorry, 20 tons, yeah. So it would take an awful lot of space to make a lot amount of this because of the sheer amount of petals that the tea spices need. And also you would then have to be worrying about tractors and other stuff like that, which was going to be a pain. Then there's this one, which is goat's milk. Now, all these goat's milk need is a silo, fertile land to increase the productivity. Obviously, I'm using the Grandilla copper distiller. It gives us 50% boost. Ferrous 50% boost, and this one 20. So they're going to be at 320%. So bearing in mind, I've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 in this little cluster here. This is all the space they're going to take up, except from a little bit of teff to feed the silos. So these 9. Make us 11 tons a minute. So you think, oh, it's half the amount that the tea needs for a trade union cluster, but the tea needs all of the petals to feed it, which would take up way more than another trade union cluster. Plus you haven't got to worry about the need for tractors and trying to fit the farms in the irrigation. So believe it or not, I am going to make an awful lot of ethanol in Mbessa. Yeah, I've worked out 2 goods that I need to use Mbessa for. One of them is going to be goat's milk, and one of them is going to be Wanza timber, because we can make stuff as a byproduct through that. So yeah, goat's milk is going to be the way to go for ethanol. I mean, it's going to take a lot of islands, but this is dead space to me, Mbessa. I don't need any goods actually made from Mbessa for my investors in the old world. So if I can make anything over here as a byproduct, even if it takes up a massive amount of space, then it's good for me. So yeah, we're going to go goat's milk. I have already done an island making goat's milk purely for ethanol. I'm going to run through this in the next video. This is linked to an island in the New World making celluloid. We'll quickly have a look at it. So this is it. This is an island dedicated to making ethanol from goat's milk, and also cotton from Wanza timber. These 2 items are needed together to make the celluloid. You need cotton and ethanol. This island here is producing me enough ethanol and cotton to feed 1 island in the New World making celluloid. So it works in tandem really well. I've got ships coming from here only to 1 island. The amounts, I'm making a tad more ethanol than I need on this island, but hey, I'd rather have more going over than a little bit less. I think I'm making about 5 tons more a minute ethanol. But yeah, I found a real cool system of how to lay these out and get the most out of them. You can see trade union coverage, an awful lot. These are making Wanza timber and cotton. These are making the goat's milk and the ethanol. Obviously it's just being shipped off and dumped, so I can get these. Let's go to the New World. This is the island making the celluloid. Everything's blown up. This is the island making the celluloid. It needs cotton, ethanol and camphor wax. Cotton and the ethanol we've just done. Camphor wax is being made on site. We're going to run over this in more detail with that other island in the next video. Yeah, but for now I hope you enjoyed that. Just to clear up, ethanol is being made via goat's milk. I've also been watching some streams of proper min-maxers, and the grapes are going to have to be made in the New World as well, so that's going to be fun. Not enough room in the old world for me to make the amount of grapes that I need for the cognac. Well, there is, but it would limit me to... I would have to use probably 2 medium islands to make the grapes. They make it at a really slow rate. So we're going to use specialists on islands in the new world making bananas because they're the fastest producing good. If you have a look, bananas produce at 30 seconds. Rubbers a minute. Corn's a minute. And tobacco's 2 minutes. I dread to think how long cocoa is. Sugarcane. I'll have to test it. Sugarcane works at 30 seconds. That needs 128 tiles for optimum efficiency. Bananas need 128 as well. So you could do sugarcane or bananas. I don't suppose it really matters. They're going to produce the same amount. So yeah, whatever island's got... I think every island has bananas on it, doesn't it? Yeah, so banana or sugarcane, doesn't matter. We're going to be using that to make our grapes. Specialists are going to be making the grapes as byproducts. We've got plenty of room. Yeah. Next one, Celluloid Island. Celluloid / ethanol goat's milk island. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this. Please stay tuned for the next one, and we are moving along nicely. You may have noticed I've started planning out crown falls for the clip chemical factories and started to feed everything in amongst. I'm left with a bit of dead space because of the clipping. See these bits here, but I am putting obviously the fire stations and the small warehouses. Even with these 4 fire stations crammed in here, these are still going pop. They have a very, very high chance of exploding, so it's not wasted space because they need these fire stations to stop them blowing. But yeah, cool. Give it a like, subscribe, all the usual bizzle, join the Discord, and we'll see you in the next one.